Okay, talk about adding fractions. Now this is important in pre-calculus because sometimes we do have to add numerical fractions. But often we have to add algebraic expressions, rational expressions. Okay? And if you don't know the rules for adding numbers, you're not going to know the rules for adding rational expressions. Okay, 1/4 plus 2/3 is not 1 plus 2 over 4 plus 3. 1/4 times 2/3 would be 1 times 2 over 4 times 3. That works, but this doesn't. And it's obvious why it won't. If you take two circles, one divided into fourths and one divided into thirds, roughly, okay? Well, here's 1/4 and here's 2/3. Now, if these are pies, and you give somebody this much pie and then add it to this much pie, they've almost got a whole pie. Now 1/4 is a little less than 1/3, so you don't quite have the whole pie, but you've got most of it. Okay? But 1 plus 2 over 4 plus 3 is 3/7. That's less than half. We could divide a pie into 7. Let's see, 7 parts, that's a little less than 8, so let's see, we go about here, that's a little more than 8, so we go about here, and we go about here, and maybe we've got, not doing this very well, okay, I should have practiced this. It's not divided very evenly, but you can imagine that it is. I think we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 7, okay? And we take 3 of those, we got less than half a pie. So this plus this is not equal to this, okay? In order to add 1/4 and 3/7, or 2/3, what we have to do is we have to say, okay, let's see, 1/4, 2/3. How could we divide these sections up so that we can actually compare them and match them? Well, it turns out it's not that hard to do. If we take each quarter and divide it into 3 parts, try to do that evenly, and you take each third and divide it into 4 parts, now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 parts. 1, 2, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 parts here. So all the parts we divided this into are the same as the parts we've divided this into. And now we see that we have 1, 2, 3 parts. Now we divided the circle into 12s, so we've got 3 12s. And over here we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 12s. And that's equal to, well, 3 of something and 8 of something is 11 of them. What are the somethings? They're 12s, okay? And we could say that's, well, intuitively, that's 3 plus 8 12s, or 11 12s. And now we can count them. We've got 1, 2, 3 here, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 here, and it seems to match up with the calculations. So we have 11 12s. Now, in elementary school, before people put calculators in your hands and you forget everything you knew, you learn to do this. Okay, you learn to find a common denominator and all that stuff. But people forget it. Typically, pre-calculus students don't have a clue how to add fractions. Many do, and many pick it up quickly after a little refresher, but many still have trouble with it. Okay? Just like I have trouble with putting calculators in people's hands and misusing them. Okay. So, this is kind of an important thing to understand. Operationally, we can say that 1/4 plus 2/3 is the same as, well, 1/4 is the same as 1/4 times 3/3, because 3/3 is 1, right? I multiply the numerator and denominator, I get equivalent fractions. Multiply numerator and denominator both by 3, I get the equivalent fraction. Okay. I don't know how to rescue that, which is 3/12. And then 2/3, multiply numerator and denominator by 4. I multiply, in other words, 2/3 by 4/4. I get the equivalent fraction, 8/12. And then knowing that if I want to be really picky about this, 3/12 is 3 times 1/12. 8/12 is 8 times 1/12. And by the distributive law, that's 3 plus 8 multiplied by 1/12. Just factor out the 1/12 on this side, which is 11 times 1/12, which is 11/12. Everything is nice and consistent. I'm not going to actually ask you to do all these steps, although I might encourage you to do it to understand it. When you do this, you're going to multiply the numerator and denominator of each fraction by some number that ends up, if you choose the right number for this fraction, the right number for this fraction, you end up with a common denominator. And then, you know, at least if you believe what I told you here, and you understand that if I do 3/12 and 8/12, I get 11/12. Okay? And just by formal operations, this is what we get. And by common sense, it's what we get. So the operations reflect the common sense. You need to understand this much about fractions. Otherwise, you're very likely to get misled at some point and to do something wrong and simplify a more complicated algebraic expression.